What's up, gang? What is up, my beautiful people? How are you guys? I didn't even make a banner for this episode. Oh, hold on. My volume. What is up, you guys? I missed you guys. How are you? When you tune in here, let me know. Let me see if, yeah, I was about to say your face. I need to be bringing y'all on here. But let me see where you're from, where you are tuning in from, or I should say where you're at. So, yeah, like I got some really good stuff today. I feel like this is some stuff that a lot of people are going to be able to relate to, especially a lot of women. My guides really want me to share this. And the way that they want me to share it is really like just more personable, like giving you guys my personal experience in love and life. I don't know if any of you guys are into cartomancy, but cartomancy is like astrology and numerology on steroids. So if you're into astrology, if you're into numerology, those things are nothing compared to cartomancy, right? It's like those two things tied together. So Rumi and I, if you guys know the 12th dynasty or 12th century famous poet, he was like bigger than Shakespeare. So Rumi and I share the same birth card. And Rumi was a philosopher and poet who came here to learn about life and love, which is life. And he spent his whole life doing a really good job mastering love. And when I say love, again, it's not the love that we think of, where it's always an intimate partner, but it's just love. Like it's love in its truest form. I don't think my phone is on Do Not Disturb. Let me see if I can put it on for my laptop. So Rumi and I share the same card, and I think that's so amazing. Hold on, y'all. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Okay, I want to make sure I didn't get no phone calls. So yeah, I've just always like my journey in love has been so unique and so amazing since I was really, really young. I have been in relationships. So what a lot of people don't know, because I feel like when we see a single mom, I don't know why we do this, but we just assume that she's just always been a single mom and that's just her journey, like as if women don't get divorced or something and become single moms. But I actually, my history in for most of my life has always been in a relationship. For a long time, I could not be alone. And when I say always in a relationship, I mean that to a T. I mean like my first relationship being at like age 10, 11, and then not ever being single. Not for 1 month after that. Okay. So going from excuse me, going from that age, that young age, to a relationship that lasted for almost 7 years right after that. So that was like damn near my whole childhood. and then and then going from there to, I think that one was like 3 years, and then I had my 9-year marriage, and then another 2-year relationship. So very long, drawn out, very passionate, super deep love, very much twin flame energy, soul tie situations, lots of karmatic stuff going on, really divine stuff, right? And so it wasn't until these last almost 5 years that I have been single, okay? So my perspective, oh, wow, I act like I'm about to choke. Hold on, y'all. Let me get some water. If you are here and you're ready for this discussion, can you leave a what you call it? A comment. What should the comment be? I need like a signature thing. What should my thing be? What do I like? I love sunflowers, but it takes too long to get to sunflowers. Like for y'all to go through the emoji, that's too much. I gotta think of something. Something that lets me know that y'all in here with me, okay? But thumbs up, share, share, share. This is about to be a really, really good live, okay? So, anyways, this is about self-worth, and it's a thing that I feel like I'm learning. I'm still learning self-worth, which is crazy to me. I'm still learning self-worth. But the message that my guides are always giving me about this though is that people think, like, I don't know how humans we do this, but we think that someone being confident and someone knowing their worth is like a always constant thing. We just think it's like you either know your worth or you don't. You're either confident or you're not. We don't really understand that the way that the human mind and the human journey works is that these things go up and down. Events happen, things take place, and you might forget who you are. You might lose that confidence. Then you pick it back up. Then you might drop it again. Sometimes you think you had it and you didn't even really have it. You was just in a relationship where someone was giving that to you. So many levels to this, right? But when it comes to my very unique love experience, I think it's so, it's just like my whole life is so unique. My whole life is like, for those of you who don't understand this, we really do choose our life. You really do. On the other side, and you guys know I do this for a living, I take people to their other lives and people can go and see themselves planning their life and planning their next life. So you literally do this, okay? If you watch anybody's NDE experiences, near death experiences, you're going to see them. They can go, they often have the experience where they're going into the moment where they plant their life, right? You choose your hair color, you choose your parents, you choose everything. So I always think it's so funny when I look back at just how my life is in general, but then especially my love life is so unique. I'm like, oh, like I could just see myself having so much fun, like choosing all these different templates and these different experiences. And like, I'm going to do this. And at this age, I'm going to do that. And so I'm coming in with this card, I'm going to learn this and all that. So one of the things with me is that I have a lot of experience with heartbreak, just like Rumi. Okay, just like Rumi, if you guys know Rumi the poet, I share the same birth card as Rumi, and Rumi came here mastering love. I do think that in order, if your purpose here, one of your purposes is to master love, you're going to experience heartbreak. But the funny thing about me is that my heartbreak, okay, everybody's heartbreak is not really caused by the other person. Let me say that first. Somebody didn't break your heart like you think. You broke your own heart. But in my case, it's very unique because I've never been in a relationship where a man left me or where he like cheated on me and that's why I left. Like it's never, all of my relationships, the ones that I just went through, which is what, like 5 relationships, they've always been really deep, really passionate. The guy is super crazy about me and super in love. We're crying together. It's just so deep and passionate. Such deep love. And in all of them I have ended the relationship first, but I still experience the heartbreak. And I think it's so cool because it just gives me a different human perspective. I can understand why I would have chosen this. And what we're really doing, you guys, is that in every life that you live, you are you're trying to experience as much as you can, like not it all in one life, but you're doing different things in the next life. So if you learned love through, maybe let's say that you were married for most of your life, right? You met your husband when you were 15 or 16, like that often happened back in the day, and y'all were married until you were old. Well, you will choose something completely different in another life. You'll choose being single for the whole time or something like that. So I just think it's so funny that I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to go through heartbreak with every single relationship, but I'm going to be the one to end it. And the really cool thing about this lesson and what I've heard my guides tell me is something that is for me to be a reflection for everyone else, because the only reason why this is taking place is because human beings, we have this thing where, well, I like to say it like, it's not about it's not about a person leaving, it's about how they leave. So even though I have initiated for my relationships to end because I'm choosing myself and, whatever reasoning that I have, which is ultimately always ends up being that you're choosing yourself, right? But it's how humans, like, people are okay with like splitting up and just having a family with someone or just being in love and then being enemies. Like people are okay with having like drama in beef with their exes. There's even this thing where it's like you shouldn't even want to be cool or be friends with your exes. Like y'all shouldn't even, like you shouldn't even have this cordial connection. And it's just not like that on my planet. Like the planet that I'm from, we just don't operate like that. So I mean, I've been in a relationship where it was physically abusive. I've been in a relationship with someone who was extremely narcissistic. There's because my exes be watching me, I'm gonna be very careful with what I say because at least two of these motherfuckers is watching this video right now. But to me, which says so much. But just a lot of experiences that I've had, and I have not ever wanted to hurt them. I've never wanted to see any of my exes fail. I have not ever stopped like loving them, of course, on the same level. Yeah, but I love all my exes. Like every man that I've ever said that I've loved, I still got love for, because how do y'all just turn y'all love off like that? How do human beings just turn off the love, and all of a sudden you're talking about this person to the kids, you're trying to be in competition. Like this is what the experience is very often with human beings. Now, what ends up happening in my case is that I will initiate the relationship ending, and then there's a lot of, now this is where we get into the self-worth stuff, but because there's a lot of non-accountability and not wanting to face why the relationship actually ended, then there's like this blame thing that starts, right? You guys can tell me if this is different for you, but most of you guys are having the same experience, not to where you're initiating the relationship ending. That's not always the same. I think that most people have dealt with a person like leaving them, and then maybe another person cheating on them, leaving them for someone else. I feel like most people, and just in my years of coaching people, I'm also going off of that as well. And I feel like most people, this camera's moving way too damn much. I feel like most people have experienced all those different things. Most people probably won't say that they have left all of their relationships. Hold on, because it's normally different. Why is the tripod moving like this? Okay, so there's this thing, right, where if you're just tuning in, I'm going to be speaking about self-worth, but I'm kind of giving you guys like an overview of my love life and how I have grown to master love, and that being one of my purposes here. And I'm on the subject of the way that we leave relationships. It's not that we leave. Relationships are meant to end. You're not supposed to be with everybody, that you start with. But it's how a person leaves. And human beings, we are really, really used to making enemies. First of all, let's stay here for a second, because why do you end relationships and have so much drama? Like why, how do you go from being in love with someone, getting back shots or giving back shots just 6 months before, sometimes 5 days earlier, depending on when the relationship split up, y'all was just planning a whole life together. How do y'all end up hating the person that you loved so much to where you want to harm them, or to where if you're causing them any pain, you're just so cold? And this is a real question. I'm going to answer this, but I really want to know what y'all's answers are, because this is a thing, you guys. It is a big thing, especially if people have kids together. It's just always been a phenomenon to me, because where I'm from, we don't do that. We just don't operate like that. We just don't. I'm just kind of recapping for those of you who are tuning in, who are just now tuning in, but it's just so common. And when I've talked about being cool with my exes, or even if you're like in a new relationship and you tell them that you're cool with your ex, there's like, come on, like we're so human. People are jealous. People are like, oh my God, like you're insecure. Like that's all coming from insecurities and possessiveness. And you should be cool. Like I want to be in a relationship with a man that when we're talking, if we are ever discussing his exes, which we never have to, but if we are, look out for these red flags where a person is always, when they talk about what happened with their ex, they're always going in on their ex. Or look at how a person be enemies with all their exes. This is most of y'all. Most of y'all cannot get along with your exes. That's a problem, y'all. Like, what is happening with human beings where we are supposed to be so much in love? You're willing to live across the country for a person and get pregnant by them, commit to them, all this stuff, buy a whole house and all this stuff. But why is it that when it's time for this relationship to end, there's so much drama? There's so much financial drama. There's so much mental abuse, sometimes physical abuse. This is a thing. Why does it end like that? It comes from hurt people. It comes from hurt people. And while I won't make it seem like I ended a relationship and wasn't hurt, I am not ever hurt enough where I want to hurt you, or where if you are hurt, I all of a sudden don't care. And I think this is just because of the way that we love. I feel like the people that are like me are like the 1%ers. People who, like, no matter what, you always got love for your exes. It doesn't mean that you ever have to speak to them again, but you never want for them to, be out bad, and you just don't end your relationships with drama. I just don't be about that drama. So pretty much all my exes, the ones that I just listed, the relationships that I just listed, all except for one. This is just someone that's just running from everything, but all except for one, I've been cool with eventually afterwards. But that time frame in between is where all of the heartbreak takes place. And it's not ever a heartbreak like, I wish we could just be together. It's always ends up being a heartbreak like, how could you do me like this though? Like, how could you be so cruel and so mean and so, just so mean? Like, why are you so cold now? Like, if we are supposed to end, why are you so angry? Right? Why are you so resentful? Why is it 2 years later and you're still very upset? So this is a lot of us. This is not just women. I know we think that women are just bitter when we leave relationships. It's not just women. There are bitter men out there too. But when it comes to learning my self-worth, because like I said earlier, some people believe that you, like, confidence and self-worth is just the thing that you just catch it one day and then it just stays on you. And that doesn't happen like that. Confidence, maybe. I would say I've always been overall a confident person, but that doesn't mean that I haven't had low self-esteem moments, or definitely, which is what I'm going to talk about, is self when it comes to not knowing my worth. But I just think that we have a really backwards way of looking at what that is. We really think that it's something that's just ever flowing through you, and that it even shows up in ways of how you take care of yourself. And it doesn't have anything to do with that. I know that for women, we have this whole like self-care thing, and it's like, go to the spa and do this and do that. And if you do enough of that, if you get into the bag, if you keeping your hair and your nails done, and you're confident, then you have healed. But that's not the case. That it means it's nothing like that. You could do all those things, still be so messed up inside. And normally that is actually what's taking place. So there's definitely this thing when it comes to that. And where the lack of self-worth comes from, that I don't think people consider enough, it's not, again, about always what a lot of you guys have experienced, like someone cheating and leaving on you, or someone just doing the most fucking traumatic shit that people can do, like the betrayal. Okay. That hasn't been. Now, I did have one relationship when I was really young, that long 7-year relationship. That's when I experienced that. And I don't know, I was young. I feel like cheating and getting cheated on, that's some young shit. Don't go through that when you're in your 30s. If you're in your mid 30s and beyond, we have to stop cheating if you are a cheater, and you have to stop getting cheated on. Okay. I just feel like it's so immature to cheat and get cheated on, okay, when you're in your 30s or beyond. But so again, it's just how a person leaves. And what has happened for me that I realized is that I will be so confident, I will know who I am, all this amazing stuff, right? And then when I leave the connection, the person's resentment and reaction to that, because it's so hard. If I say, well, I'm leaving because this is not happening, this is not happening, I need to be able to do this, I'm not doing this either, I need to work on this, da, 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 and you got to work on that. But if the person doesn't want to say or doesn't want to see where their part is, then what they will normally do, I think this happens all the time. This is how the whole drama and the enemy stuff starts happening. Like when we're talking about hurt people, it's because you don't want to see your part in it. Like you don't want to see where you're fucking up at, right? So then the way that you end up treating the person, like they're just nothing like what they were before. There's a lot of like avoiding emotions, avoiding the conversation. There's a lot of, even if you think that the grass is greener on the other side, some of you guys may think that, and some of y'all might even be right. But then it's like the way that you go about treating that person when you guys are ending, that says a lot about you and what's really going on inside of you. So that part, because for a long time, I just didn't understand how humans operate like that. So that would be the part that I would begin to beat myself up for, the way a person is treating me. And I think this happens so much, and humans just, I don't know, we just really suck at repeating and explaining things. We kind of just move on from it, but people don't really actually heal from it, because I'm gonna tell you how you know you're not really healing from it, and it just feels like it. Because if your come up after, let's say he broke your heart, even though no one's ever breaking your heart, you're always breaking your own heart. But let's say that he or she broke your heart, and then you finally find the strength and you're doing what you're being on your stuff, you're getting to your bag and da, 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 da. If you're doing this in a sense of like, yeah, I got to show them, I got to shit on them, I got to stunt on them, ain't nobody ever going to do me like this again, I ain't ever going to do that. Like if this is your conversation while you're working on moving on, then you're not actually going to be healing through that. Now, I'll even say this, because you can move on, but are you actually healing? Because what humans are not doing is, we're not normally telling the story like it really is. What's really going on is that we have these contracts with each other, and we agree to come here and to, yes, instill love and instill fear, instill pain. We have these agreements, guys, even from someone being assaulted, okay? Assaulted, I'm not gonna say the word. But even from the most extremes that you can think of what somebody can go through, you have an agreement with that person. This is not like spiritual mumbo jumbo. Again, I'm taking people into multiple lives. We're seeing them plan for their lives. It is not a secret. So you can literally have this experience where you can see yourself planning for your life. And like I was saying the other day on our live, we all have unconditional love for each other. That man or that woman that broke your heart and that did you so wrong actually loves the hell out of you, like has like the most unconditional love for you. It just doesn't feel like it, because we're here having this earth experience. And these are the kind of stories that we're not telling ourselves about after we break up. We're telling ourselves this story that they hurt us, they played with us, they played with our emotions, yada, yada, yada. No one's actually doing that. It's nothing personal. It's never, ever, not one time is it ever personal. It's always the person dealing with their own hurt. But of course, at the time that I've experienced this, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. So I'll say I did a little bit, because my understanding, that's also how I'm able to go from even being with someone who was physically abusive at some point, to leaving them and not having the anger towards any of that, or not having, not wanting to see them fail and things like that. I do have a particular understanding that it's just really because I'm channeling. That's where my understanding comes from. But me being a human and still experiencing it, that's different. So I kind of even will go in and out of understanding what's really happening on a soul level, and then experiencing what I'm meant to experience on a human level. And it's just amazing the patterns that I've seen in myself in love, where when a person, this is the part that we don't talk about, because we'll be like, oh, just be confident, oh, just don't worry about it. But it's like, that's not even real. Like, if this is a person that you were like making love to and sacrificing to and being loyal to and putting all your energy into and whatever else that y'all were doing for however long, then it's not just going to happen. Like, when this person, when it's time for y'all to split up, whether it's like myself, where you've had the experience where you initiate the breakup, or whether they do it, you are going to have a reaction to the way that they treat you. If they are treating you like you're not worthy, and it's like that switch off, you can say, it's going to change you. And like I said, most people are doing this because most of y'all are not ending your relationships on a healthy note. We already know that that's rare for people to end their relationships on a healthy note, because people be hurt and we're not understanding what's really taking place. We're not acknowledging source. No, we're not acknowledging God, that God has a huge hand in this, or the whole hand in this. We're not acknowledging the divinity of this connection and the divinity of it ending. If we were acknowledging this, then when people divorce, when couples split up, you wouldn't judge it. You wouldn't say things like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," as if someone died. We would have full acceptance and full understanding of what's really taking place, and that everything is always working out in each of your favors all the time, that you are the creator of your reality. I mean, all these things, these are things that we're not talking about. When we go through our breakups and women be on some, we got to come up and change your hair and do your whatever, we're never telling this story. We're never acknowledging the soul part of our connection. It's always coming from a very earthly place, where it's like, they did this to me, very 3D. This is what they said, and this is the details. And if only they had not done this or said this, and none of that stuff even matters. It's amazing how none of that matters. It's amazing how we break our own hearts because of our reaction to things. And it's amazing how much we don't realize that you can move on but not actually be healed. Is this making sense? Is this making sense? Because this is a huge message that my guys have wanted me to share for a while. And I think I have to make a video of it. But I wanted to come live and talk about it because I wanted to see if y'all would be able to relate and have any feedback for it. And then maybe I can add it to my video. But yeah, it's just a matter of that. And so what I'll do is, like, I shouldn't say will, but what I would do in the past is that I would have this experience, go through this love, I would leave the relationship, and I would still be thinking that, we're not going to be enemies because we in love or we were. So we're just ending because it's not working, and all the other details of it. And then the reaction is, like I said, resentment, anger, a bunch of toxicity, a bunch of drama. And this is not me, because I'm like, we should be cool. We should actually be cool. I just don't believe that you have to be enemies with your exes. I don't like that. I don't like that I had months or years with you. Normally it's a lot of years that I've had with someone, and then now we just can't ever talk again. Like, I can't ever even just check on you one day. Like, you're so angry with me. You're not angry with me. You're angry with yourself. You're angry with yourself and your parents, or whatever the thing is. And what I used to do is I would take their reaction to being really cold and being really just really mean and really resentful, and I would take that and I would make it my own. I would say, like, this is because of me. This is because I'm not worthy. This is because I'm not attractive enough. This is the only reason why you would treat me this way. And I think that a lot of people who grew up, like, I'm just going to say, maybe not even grew up, but in your early adult years, you might have started to learn how friendships and relationships come a little bit harder than they did in, like, school. and you start to learn how people are, and you kind of find yourself saying, like, I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand how people can be like that. Or, you kind of say things like, I don't operate like that. Like I don't know how a person could be so this and so that. If you're one of those people that found yourself saying those things, it probably was really challenging for you um to just really navigate through your relationships, because you're going off of how you operate. Most of us are going off of how we operate anyway. So if you operate in a toxic way, you probably wasn't saying none of this because you're used to that and you the toxic one. Okay. But if you're normally the person who is really trying to understand, if you have good conflict resolution, if you're accountable, if you're any of those kind of things, then you probably were one of those people to say those things, to question, like, what? Like, is this how humans do it? Like, is this how people operate? And you had to learn the hard way because you were going off of you. There's like this old saying that people used to say, like, you can't expect people to, I don't know if it's like treat you like you treat others or something like that. Something like that is where I'm coming from with it. I don't know why I'm having to cough. So yeah, so I would have that experience and I would beat myself up, and I would just feel like, I would feel like, damn, like I must have been a really horrible person for you to treat me this way. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't think so. But I must have hurt the hell out of you and did some really crazy things, and or not been enough was really the main thought that I would have, that I would tell myself. I must not be enough because you're mistreating me so much. And it took for me to go through that experience a few times, each time that I went through it, to realize that it's not even personal. Like, it's not even, you want to say it's not even me, it's them, but it's not even them, it's me and it's them, because they're acting that way because they're hurt. And not to mention that you guys have this contract and this is what y'all agreed to, but they are hurt. This is the only reason why anyone mistreats you, right? It's the only reason why you get bullied. The only reason why a bully is bullying is because they are hurt, right? We understand that. But then it's you, because of the way that you're reacting to it. You're telling the story like this person just hurt the hell out of you and just did so, like, because of the physical, or I should say, yeah, like the physical 3D things that they did, the details of what they did, you're going with that. And this is where I was. This is where I found myself at least after every breakup, just about. And I just had to learn that it's not even me, it's not even personal. If for those of you that have dealt with domestic violence, for those of you that have dealt with someone serial cheating on you, I mean, I was really young for that, but I definitely experienced that to the point where I was like paranoid. Cheating is like the ultimate betrayal. Cheating will give you PTSD, for real. I don't have PTSD. I feel like I'm so grateful that that was in my early years. I don't have PTSD from cheating, but I did. I felt like I did, or I was developing it, because this guy was a serial cheater. But when you're dealing with these things, I mean, and I also like, even though I've dealt with the pain of someone that I love mistreating me in that way and having the resentment and, wanting to see me down because they can't have me. Um, or because they can't admit, I guess both, because they also can't admit why, why we're not doing this anymore. Because I feel like if that's not the case, then what do? You're just saying, okay, we didn't work out, right? That's a person that is not having resentment and anger and not hurt. When the relationship is ending, it doesn't matter who's ending it. You're not ending it where you're trying to hurt someone, or where, even if you're not necessarily doing it intentionally, where you see that you're hurting them and you actually don't care. You're just like, anyway, keep on with your hurt. The only reason why you are reacting that way is because you are hurt. Hurt people hurt people. But I just think it's so amazing that I didn't know that every time. It's like well, I can't say, no. I can't say that I figured it out and then I forgot it. No, that's not what happened. It was literally me having to experience that so many times for me to not take it how everybody takes it. I think it's even challenging because we have the internet too. So it's like everyone's telling the same story. Everyone's saying the same stuff about why they had their heart broken. This person did this to you and they did that to you, and but nobody actually did anything to you. Like, not really. Like, now if you were SA'd, then that's a different story. It doesn't mean that it's not a contract though, because it is. Doesn't mean that it wasn't written, because it is. But other than that, it's really our reaction. It really be like what we tell ourselves. And yeah, I just think that's so amazing. Like, I have really went through, I mean, what's amazing is what you can tell yourself when a person is treating you very poorly and you did not do anything to deserve that treatment. The story and the things that you can make up about yourself. And I'm grateful for just who I am, because I've been able to overcome those feelings and to no longer feel that way. It normally takes me anywhere from like 2 weeks to a month, maybe, and I get right up out of that. But how I felt in the moment was not good. And that can really take a mental toll on you. And those things can also linger. I feel like when I'm coaching clients who, like women who have been single for a while, and some that haven't, some that are in fulfilled relationships, but they still are not confident. A lot of us just don't realize that this was picked up on from a connection that you had with someone when they were really mistreating you because they were hurt. Because we don't understand that when a person treats you like you ain't shit, you can internalize that. You do. Like, most of the time, a person that you loved, they're not just, y'all split up and they're treating you like, they're disrespecting you and whatever. There's too many things for me to list with the levels of things that they could do. But then they're not just doing that and then you're not caring. Normally you're internalizing that and you're telling the same story that they were either saying to you, if it was verbal abuse or whatever the thing is. A lot of times you're coming up with your own stuff, because none of the men that, after I would leave them, after I have left them, none of them were like telling me that I was unattractive or anything like that. I was just making it up. I just felt like there's no way that you could treat me like this, and you must feel like all these things that, I guess what I realized too is that it was like, if he praised a certain thing about me, like let's say that when we were together, he praised a certain thing about me, then when I left him and he started to resent me, I would take that thing that he praised about me and I would say like that's what he hates about me. Now this is none of his doing technically, right? This is my reaction to a hurt person hurting a person. But this is what we're all doing, guys, all the time. All the time. It is actually not that somebody played you and da 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 da. No, they just played themselves. And I'm not trying to be positive either. I'm telling the truth about what actually happens. Like, I always like to remind you guys that neuroscientists, they say that we only see 1% of a situation. So if you're only seeing 1%, oh my God, if humans could grasp this concept, we would have this many problems. Like, because normally what happens in any of your relationships with your kids, with your parents, your friends, and when there's an event that takes place and y'all are telling the story, well, I said this and I said that, and I only did this because this person did that. Normally, you only seen 1% of that. You ain't even really see what happened. You don't even really know what happened though. Isn't that amazing? So imagine what happens when we take the time out to really reflect. Imagine what happens when you don't forget that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and that every single experience that you have, every single interaction that you have, even from the mailman to your last marriage, is so set up. It is so orchestrated. Like the way this place works, like like synchronicity is never off. We live in a constant synchronizable world. That right there should have us all just moving, just flowing through this thing so nicely, like with no worry, just letting go, just letting go. Just things come up, we just let it go. If you just really understood, if we just really understood how much things are really synchronized and meant to be, we wouldn't have to tell these stories that someone hurt us, that they did this to us because they wanted to punish us and because they wanted to. We wouldn't even have to do it. And I wanted to share bits and pieces of my story because I wanted to relate to you guys in this sense. And I feel like a lot of us go through so much and we don't really know how to explain what we're going through. Like we don't really understand what is actually happening. So hopefully me sharing, you know, a little bit of my journey can help you to kind of unfold and understand what you've experienced and to change the story. Because a lot of us have not really moved on. Like I said, we think that we moved. I'm sorry, you moved on, but you did not heal. We think that we have healed because we've moved on, but you can move on. Most of you guys have moved on from your relationships, but not actually healed from them. And you can even be in a healthy relationship today and still have not healed from something that someone did to you. Absolutely. These things are not just like all in one bucket, like we put them in. It's very detailed. It's very separate. All of it needs to be considered. 31 minutes. Okay. So I'm doing good on time. I think I'm going to end this live, y'all. I really wanted to do less than 40 minutes. So let me know if y'all have any questions, if this is relatable at all. If you have anything that you want to add before we end, please visit my website. First of all, if you have visited my website, I want to thank you because I checked my numbers. It's been like maybe a month, and I had over 1,000 people that visited my website in one single month, and that is amazing. So shout out to y'all and to me for that. earthisschool.com. If you would like a reading from me or a coaching session or a multidimensional regression session where I take you into past lives and to meet with your soul team and to get your confirmation that you feel like you may need. If you need any closure from any past transitioned loved ones, all that is done in the MDR. Thank you, King's World, for tapping in. Yes, I'm gonna try to come on here every day, y'all. Yesterday I was so tired. Y'all know I've been doing the gym. This is day 5. I think day 5 at the gym. So I almost did not come live today. I was like, ooh, I don't feel like it, but I made myself. But I did want to talk about this subject. There's so much to unfold about love and just, normalizing that when we speak on love, what we're really talking about is getting closer to source. Every relationship that we are pursuing or that we're currently in, all that it is it's just, you just want to get closer to God. That's what that is all about. The feeling that love brings you, from love from a child, love from a relationship, and love from yourself, it is God energy. It is source energy. That is what you are seeking. So when you hear me say love, and when I say that I came here to master love and to teach love, I'm not just speaking about intimate relationships. I'm speaking about love for what it really is. Love is really us, guys. We are really so in love. I know, it's crazy to say. It's crazy to think about, but we love each other so much. Oh. And that's why y'all need to get it together. Oh my God, humans, why do y'all be hating on the people that y'all not with no more? Stop doing this. Stop being mean to people that because the relationship ended. Child, I can't believe this sometimes. Like, oh my God. Let me share this with y'all. We're gonna go. When I finalized my divorce papers, which was like a 4 or 5 year gap, I'm gonna say it was like 4 years. It wasn't even that long. I think it was 3 years. I think from the time that my ex-husband and I split up to the time that we actually finalized the divorce papers, it was 3 years, right? This is a true story, y'all. Now, my ex-husband was physically abusive, okay? We'll talk about that another time because, child, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it with me just saying that. But just know that that was a relationship where I dealt with abuse, right? Now, this is 3 years later. My ex-husband has moved on, right? He's moved on. He has a new relationship. He has a new child. I have a new relationship. I have a new child. And we go to finalize the divorce papers. And the lady who we did not know, who was notarizing the divorce papers, after we leave, now mind you, because I am so whimsical, I am not thinking that he could be having any negative thoughts about me, even though I haven't spoken to him in all these years and it's just been complete silence. I'm just thinking that there's no way you could be mad at me, and I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be alive. I'm just happy everybody looks good. We're great. Like the sun is out, you know? So we're literally standing next to each other, and I'm just being so cheerful and just oblivious. And the lady, after we leave, we go our separate ways. And this lady, she texts me and she says, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like what's wrong? Like what's going on?" She's like, "Your ex-husband, it seemed like he wanted to put his hands on you." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, like I thought he was going to put his hands on you." Mind you, this lady does not know what we experienced 3 and 4 years before in our marriage. She has no idea. She knows nothing. That still blows my mind of how strong energy is, and that you can be standing in front of someone and you can feel how someone feels about someone. So I was so upset, y'all. I was so upset because I do not talk to this man. I do not bother this man. I have not hurt this man in any kind of, I've not done anything to you, okay? So I was so upset that I called him, and I was just like, what the, like, why do you still want to put your hands on me? Damn. Like, what is happening inside of you? And he just lashed out. I mean, it was a whole thing, but I mean, long story short, he actually ended up crying on the phone, and he talked about how much he was hurting inside. I mean, it was an amazing conversation, but only because I stood my ground, and because I had understood that while I beat myself up because you felt because you verbally and physically abused me, and I beat myself up because it feels, because like I said, we don't ever talk about that. You do this because of how a person is treating you. You don't even realize that you're doing it. And so because I had overcome that, and I understood that him treating me the way that he had treated me, especially towards the end of our marriage and after, it wasn't about me, it was about him. So if I had not stood my ground and said to him, "I know that you only want to put your hands on me because that's how you feel about yourself. You don't hate me, you hate yourself." And if I had not understood that, which is what I was telling him, if I didn't understand this, I would have took this really personal. Like I would have been beating myself up again. But I understand where this is actually coming from. So it was a really great conversation. It probably didn't end well for him, but it was good for me because I got to get some emotion out of him. And maybe it was good for him because he got to open up, and, he was, feeling this anger. And it's really just about him dropping the ball, like losing his family. And that does suck. I understand that that sucks, but you wanting to inflict pain on someone and hurting someone, this is why I'm breaking this down from this perspective, because I don't think that we understand what's going on behind the veil of things. We take things so personal that it's so hard for us to really understand that hurt people hurt people. We always just be saying shit. You know that? Humans are always just saying stuff and just not actually, we have a lot of sayings that we don't actually understand. Like children are sponges. But if you really believed that children absorb things like sponges do, then you would not be letting the kids on TikTok. You would not be letting them on YouTube. You wouldn't even be letting them in school like that. You would be very careful because you would understand that whatever their environment is, they're going to absorb it like a sponge does any type of substance or liquid. You would understand that. So it sounds like I'm off topic, but I'm on topic, okay? Same thing. We really just be having sayings, y'all, and we do not even be paying attention to them. Right? Yeah, they don't realize it. I mean, seriously. And I mean, it was a lot to unpack in that conversation because, you know, there was him running from his responsibilities as a father. And that's another thing. Even when it comes to that, oh my goodness, single moms, we are taking this so personal. Now, you might have a father, you're what the father or one of the fathers of your children might be someone who was just flat out trifling from the beginning. Like, girl, I don't even know why you did this because you knew he was not going to be there, right? Contrary to popular ignorant ass belief, because for some reason we think that all single mothers were dealing with a man who was obviously not going to be a good dad. Now, my ex-husband, I met him as a single father. So we actually both came together and had one child. So I knew for a fact that he knew how to be a father. But why this conversation was so beautiful is because I know him, even though he was hurt and did things to me and himself and his family, I understand him. So I know that he has the potential to be a great father, or I wouldn't have chose him. I know who he really, really is, who he's not been able to be. And especially because he's been running. And when I know this from even women that run from their responsibilities as mothers, that when a person misses 6 months of their children's life, now this is only for people that actually want to be, that actually have it inside of them. Like I said, if you're dealing with somebody that's been trifling, I can't help that situation. I can't speak on that. That's another soul contract thing. But for people that wanted to, or that were, it's so many cases when you were with this person and they were a consistent parent and now they're not. And for those kind of people, it's really them running, because after 6 months of not seeing the child or children, and then you go a year, and then you go 2 years, and you go 3 years, you're actually running. Like, this is feeling like a big thing in your gut. Like, you can't even, like, it's hard for you to even face your children. And that was the conversation that him and I had. And he literally was like, I mean, we're both on the phone, like crying, because I'm crying now. He's crying, I'm crying. And even though I was angry when I first called, because I was like, how dare you want to put your hands on me? Like, I'm raising your children. I never asked you for anything, yada, yada, yada. I was just so like, I'm so angry, you know. But as I begin to understand, and I should say remember why it was really happening and what this was really happening for, and I was able to speak up on that without feeling personal, without feeling attacked by him, and that was able to bring, crack him open in his emotions. And he literally was just like, you don't know what it feels like I can't face them. And I was like, yes, you can. Like, they need you. You can face them. Like, we had the most beautiful conversation. We'll probably never have it again. I have no idea. But I mean, you can't, humans, we're running from stuff, and we're feeling guilt, and we're feeling resentment from ourselves. Like, we're literally hating ourselves. This is what's really happening when you're telling the story about somebody that played you and cheated on you and abused you or left you or whatever, or you had to leave them because they were not showing up. There's actually a bunch of shit going on in the background. And I just think it's so important that you understand this, because again, you might have moved on, but you didn't heal. And you don't really heal and like live a healed life, I'll say, because maybe you can even heal from that person. But when you get in another connection and you have whatever situation that comes up and that doesn't work out, you're going to be telling yourself the same kind of stories. You're going to be doing the human thing. Well, it's because I did this. It's because I didn't do that right. It's because or they did this or they did that. You're not going to be saying what things really are behind the veil of things, like the psychology of what went on and the soul contracts. Let me read this comment. Me and my ex-wife are cool now, but we went through our phase. I don't hate her though. We grew past that. I still love anyone I ever loved. I just don't have to be with everyone to love them for the soul. That's right. Every now and then the light shines through. Right. Yes, exactly. Like I can't do it. I can't turn off my love. So every single ex I've ever had, every single ex from elementary school, I still have a love for. I just don't know how to. I'm just not that. I just don't be knowing what y'all be doing when y'all be telling people that y'all in love with them. I don't understand how you go from that and then you just want to see this person hurt. That is so amazing to me. I just can't. I just know that's not how we do it where I'm from. Like, it's just always been, I mean, even before when I was a kid and I would see adults doing this, I'm like, wow, like this is a phenomenon. Like, this is amazing. How are you that hurt? But that's what that comes from though. Yeah, I haven't like, I would leave a relationships, like my past, I have left all the relationships and I didn't leave them like excited to leave or anything. Like I didn't commit to this so that it can end. So this sucks that I have to do this. So it's not like I left cheerfully, but I wasn't trying to leave with any kind of like drama or pain or, that's me afflicting any pain and vice versa. But when people are not able to be accountable, and I'm gonna say this is not me like categorizing men or anything, but it needs to be talked about. Men really do be, there's a lot of men, I will say, I feel like if you've reached your 40s, most men have at least one good woman that they really dropped the ball on. Like one woman that they can say, that's the woman who got away. I really, you guys, I've been coaching people since I was 10. Like, I really see this. I would say that most men, if you have reached the age 40, you have at least one woman that you can say that you let get away. You either cheated on her or you didn't fight hard enough for y'all's relationship. You weren't emotionally available. You were dealing with your addictions to porn or wherever the hell the thing is. But that's a thing. And I have to just be honest. I'm not saying this because I'm trying to like, clout myself up or anything, but I haven't left a guy who did not want me back. I have not yet had a relationship that after I left the relationship, the person did not want to be back with me. And I just think that it's a pattern for a lot of men. It doesn't mean that every woman that you get with, because obviously some of us women are trash. A lot of us are trash. It's just a human thing. It's not about men are trash or women are trash. Humans are just trash in general. But it's just a pattern. It's just a thing. And they always end up, like I said, at least 2 or 3 of them are going to be watching this live. Shout out to y'all. I still love you. They already know this. Like, I got love for everybody that I ever loved though. Like, I feel like I would be so fake if I didn't love you still. Like, that's so fake of y'all. Like, if I didn't still have love for you. But there's just a thing. And I'm so grateful to have understood this about myself, like my worth, because these are men that I've experienced that did drop the ball, that are resentful because they are not able to admit that, because they're not able to face that. That's the only reason why you end up not being able to just go on with the relationship. And even though I allowed for them, because they didn't try to, but I allowed for them to make me feel worthless or not worthy, it wasn't a personal thing. So I'm so grateful for understanding that, because it helps me in how I show up in the world. It helps me in how I show up in my next connection. It helps me in any other connections that have to end, and just me understanding my level, like, what level I'm on. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but Me either. I really love for real. Yes, I want to see everyone I love prosper. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, London Price. Yes, love you too. I say the same thing. All of my exes wanted me back. Yeah, I think there's some people, like when I talked about this, that have the same experience as that. I think that says a lot. I feel like if you have an experience where you have, let's say, I'm gonna say 3 out of 5 of your exes, just giving a ratio, if they wanted you back, and if you can be honest with yourself about your self-worth, and if it's not where it needs to be, you need to boost yourself, baby. You need to feel how you really are. You need to feel the kind of person, the kind of man, or the kind of woman that you really are, and how you show up. Because a lot of times you won't know it, because you'll meet people that don't know how to cherish it. You'll meet people that don't even know what it looked like, so they can't even hold on to it. And that will make you forget what's really going on, like with you. That'll make you forget how dope you are. And I've had exes, like my exes have actually had to remind me this. Like I have one ex. He has been wanting to get back with me for like 16 years. And y'all probably, if y'all on my Facebook, y'all have seen this guy, because he is not ashamed. And he will say things. And he actually reached out to me like 3 years ago, and we were together when I was 18. He was like 5 years older than me. And he is the one that reminded me of the kind of woman that I was when I was 18. He reminded me of things that I completely forgot about. Like now he has an electrical company, and he wanted to thank me. That's why he reached out to me, because he wanted to thank me for his electric company. And he was just like, I owe this to you, because you're the one that made me get into this field. You know, you've seen more than what I seen for myself. There was a time that he had lost his electric job, and I called and I got his job back. I forgot about all this. Like, I'm not even remembering. This is like, when things are in my past, they are in my past. I done been in love 4 more times after him. I cannot remember this man. Okay. not the man. I still remember him, but I do not remember how I was. So I needed this. Like, y'all, I didn't even know how much I needed this phone call. Like, this man called me to tell me this. And at first he's telling me the story, and I'm just like, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And when he gets to all the things that I did, and he's like, girl, like, you was 18. He's like, if you were that kind of woman when you were 18, I can only imagine what kind of woman you are to a man today. And I just broke down crying. Like, I just started crying. I didn't even know that I didn't even know. I didn't even know that I didn't even think about what kind of woman that I actually am to a man. Because if all my relationships, if when I leave, they are having so much anger and resentment, then, you know, you go off of the end of it. You know, it's hard for you to go off of like how the person felt and what it was and stuff in the relationship, because you just be like, damn, how can you be so messed up? Like, you know, just kind of shocks you that a person can be like that. So, I mean, I needed that phone call. Like, I needed him to tell me that. Now, mind you, I'm like in my 2nd year of being single at the time, and I'm just flowing through this thing, not even knowing that was a thing. So I just really want to encourage you, if you have exes that have been trying to get back with you, if it's happened more than once, more than twice, you need to pat yourself on the back. And then hold on, let me be clear with this too. Making sure that it's not because you were a love bomber that pulled away. Let's be clear on that, because some people think that they are just that man or that girl because their exes wanted them back, but it wasn't because you were actually a genuine, intentional lover. It wasn't because you actually were there for the person and yada yada yada. It's because you were a love bomber that pulled away. So they have this pull now because it's energy. So if you pull away, the person is going to be pulling towards you. That's just basic, physics. So if that's not you, because I really think that emphasis needs to be put on that. But if that's not you, if it's not because you're a love bomber, then you need to know your worth, baby. You need to know your worth. I have this thing that I used to do where I would, and I think it's just a matter of me seeing, I'm supposed to see this reality through sources' eyes. So, especially me being a channeler, I have such an understanding of us. I am like a potential seer. Like, I see potential from a mile away, like to a fault. And some of you guys are the same way. Some of you guys can really like make something out of nothing so well that you are just a master potential seer, you know? And so I would be able to really like see the potential in someone, and not just in them, but like in us, and like what things could be. But what I had to realize is that most people are not potential seers. Most people cannot stand in a in a house that's burnt down, or that's really broke down, or even purchase a fixer upper house that needs a lot of work, and actually see the potential in it. Most people can't do that. I actually bought a home that was a fixer upper, and I fixed it up. And so yeah, that kind of just wrapped around in full circle right there. Clearly, clearly this is what I do. But most people are not like that. So if you're not a person who can see beyond, like when I'm breaking down, I mean, I can say that, you know, the guy did this and he did this and he did that. But if I really break down all of my relationships and why I ended up having to leave, like for real, if I'm breaking down what's really happening, like without all the little details, it's really because I can see the bigger picture, and people are not bigger picture seers. A lot of people do not believe that they can leave the country, or that they can get to all the money that they want, or that they can live their life of their highest potential, or they can change their environment and their scenery. A lot of people cannot see that. So I even had to understand my worth on the level of what I am able to see, because my dreams are really big. I'm a really big person. Like, I'm little, but I'm big. So in order to really be with me, and to like, and to be able to keep up with me, you have to not be intimidated by my bigness. You have to be real about if you really see what we're talking about. Like, if we're sitting back on in pillow talk, because we're gonna be talking about what we gonna do and how we gonna do it. Because I can't be with nobody and we're not moving. Like, this, that doesn't even make sense to me. So we got to be moving up. We have to be getting the things that we're supposed to be getting, right? And if it's just where, let's say the situation is like you're working at the time, or back when I was working a job, or now I'm an entrepreneur, let's say that, you know, we're not always getting the money that we want all the time. But then we're talking about it changing. I'm gonna need you to believe that. I actually need the belief to match those words. Because a lot of times people are just giving up on relationships because they don't actually see the potential of their whole entire life. It's not even about if they see the potential of the relationship. People just, you're just unhappy with your life, and you just don't really think that you can change your situation. You just don't really think that you can get out of it. So you will take your anger out on your partner, or you will take your unaccomplished feelings. And men need to feel accomplished. If a man is not, if a man doesn't feel accomplished in his life, he can easily be mean to you. He can easily resent you. It's not even that he don't love you. It's not even that he can be madly in love with you. He probably will never love another woman like he loves you. But if he doesn't feel accomplished, then a lot of men are not able to see the bigger picture. Therefore, they are just not able to be there. Like, they're just not able to be present all the time. So this is something that I had to learn as well, that I'm big. I just look small. And you got to be able, like, your confidence level. I don't even like to say that, because it's like, it sounds like I'm talking about something else. I don't even like to be like, your confidence level, but it does come down to that. And I feel like when I have been, every single man I've been with has never given me like low confidence. At least when we first got together, I like super bold in pursuing me, you know, could even speak, you know, have conversations with anyone. Not like I've had like a bunch of timid, shy, scared men, but this thing is tricky. Like I said, a lot of y'all think that y'all have healed and just because you moved on. A lot of us think that, you know, you can just be like a confident person. What is a confident person? You could be a confident person, but you're still deal with self-esteem issues. How can a person just be confident all the time, every day, for their whole life? It doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. You're going to experience not being confident. You're going to experience low self-esteem, questioning yourself, doubting yourself. It's just a part of the human experience. Okay, so I'm really about to go, y'all. So let me know if y'all have anything else that you want to say. My lives are always the same. It literally be an hour, like an hour and 11 minutes. Amazing. I'm probably screaming because I got this microphone I'm not used to. I'm not used to using a microphone. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation, then hit the thumbs up button, please. Hit the thumbs up button. Let YouTube know that your girl needs to be suggested on YouTube, okay? Your girl needs to be suggested on YouTube. You can share this live right now. It doesn't matter if it's just one person that was supposed to get this, they were supposed to get it. I want to leave you guys with the message of really, 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 like, I feel like I say this all the time. Taking a break from social media, even if it's just set with yourself for a few hours, okay? And just reflect on your relationships. Okay, I don't say this all the time. Reflect on your relationships. And I really want you to go through retelling the story of your relationships differently. Even if it's a relationship that you know that you've healed from or you've moved on from, I want you to tell that story, because you might say, yeah, I healed from that. He hurt me and he had did this to me and I healed from that. I want you to retell that story differently. This time, not saying they did this, they did this, they did that to me. I want you to really do this. And you might even do some really good diaphragm breaths. If you breathe in your nose like you're smelling flowers, out of your mouth like you're blowing out candles while you're going through this, and just release the illusions of that. It needs to be released, guys. We need to start going through our connections with humans like they really are. And we're being called to do this, honestly. Your guides are calling you to start seeing your relationships for what they really are on a soul level. And I don't mean, I'm not trying to be like this spiritual positive girl. I'm not trying to be positive. Okay, I have to make this clear with people. I'm not trying to be positive. I am telling you the truth. This is actually what is happening. This is really, it's really a bunch of divine, aligned synchronicity stuff going on behind the veil. After every relationship that I have, even throughout the pain that I've experienced, I am always so grateful for that person. I am always so grateful for that relationship and what that relationship brought me. And I think it's amazing that even after 7, 8, 10 years of being with someone, here I am still learning things about myself and about this connection, and still like coming into more layers of how amazing that was, how great that was. It doesn't feel like that when it first ends, but I think it's just really important. I think that I am only being a reflection of what your higher self is calling you to do. And this way you can go forward. Even if you're in a beautiful marriage today, you can stop taking your spouse so personal when you guys have issues, or in your next relationship, or in your next connection. Maybe you're going to be learning a couple more lessons in your next few connections, and you don't have to see them as this person attacking you and them hurting you, because it's just not even it. That's not even really what's going on. Thank you, Indigo Lynn. I appreciate that. All right, y'all. earthischool.com. And that's pretty much it. I love you guys. And I will be back on here tomorrow around the same timey, okay? Please turn your notifications on if you don't want to miss tomorrow and the next day, whatever, okay? Peace out. Thank you for rolling with me.